bit rate goes a little better. It's not like we need higher frame rate anyway. But I don't understand. We've been running so well for so long. If we disconnect at this lower frame rate, I think I'm going to call it a day and just try to, I don't know, maybe my computer needs a freaking update or something, because I'm looking at Task Manager and we were using 3 gigs of RAM. OBS was running 3 gigs of RAM. Now it's using half that. We're still overloading everything. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. But you know what, chat? I'm really not concerned about it, because this is when I say I'm going to be done. I'll just upload a freaking YouTube video. I really wanted to talk to you guys about this. I'm a bit disappointed that I'm having so many network issues. Actually, I don't even know if it's network issues. I think it might be something else. Wow. Frame rate's not bad. No drop frames. Encoding overloaded. I feel like we're still going to end up getting dropped here in a minute. Maybe not. Encoding overloaded. I don't understand. Encoding was never overloaded before. Okay. More than 0.1 frames currently skipped by the encoder. 0.1% of the frames, okay. Frame is skipped by the encoder if the encoder wasn't able to encode it within the time span available. Interesting. Oh. Okay. Well, it looks like we're actually running, and we might actually have a successful stream that's not getting disconnected. And so, what I'm going to do, looks like our frame rate might be okay. Our bit rate might be okay. Our ping doesn't seem so bad. So, with much trepidation, I'm going to hold on. Yeah, recording. That's pretty funny. Okay, the time limit is because if you encode frames at least as fast as you get them, then you have to start buffering input frames. I can view my stats. Frames missed due to rendering lag, 588, which is 6%. Holy cow. Encoding lag, 16% of the frames. Frames dropped due to network, 0. Average time to render is 1.4 milliseconds on a 30 frames per second. Right, alright. It looks like we might be done dropping frames. I don't want to say that until I see it, but okay. Yeah, let's reset this and let's give it 10 seconds and let's see how many frames we drop. There we go. I think I was getting the encoding overloaded alert because of the historical overloaded frames. So let's go ahead and we're looking good. FPS drop. Oh, 10 frame rates. Or 10 frames dropped. Holy cow. That's over 1%. What the frick? Oh man, it's got to be RAM. Because that was just the moment that my RAM spiked because I went on Chrome. Look at that. Well, no, memory's chilling at like 80%. That's full usage of my memory. Hold on. No, 9.8 gigs of 16. First of all, I need more memory. Second of all, my GPU's doing okay. My Ethernet's doing okay. Everything's well under 80%, but wow, we are dropping a lot of frames. I don't know why. I mean, 8% frame rate misframes due to rendering lag? Why do we have rendering lag? This is so silly. Good Lord. Well, I think it's probably going to disconnect because of all these frames dropping. I mean, we're at 38% skip frame due to encoding lag. I wonder if I can dedicate some CPU usage. Does that help, ladies and gentlemen? Does that help at all? Average time to render frame, 4 milliseconds? You cannot have that much time. Or was it 16 milliseconds was an acceptable amount of time? Yeah, 16 milliseconds for 60 FPS. We're chilling. We're chilling. What's going on here? But then I click here. Boom. Hey, chat. How you guys doing? My goodness. What the frick, dude? Average time to render frame just spikes is the moment I pull up Restream. Yeah, so it's Chrome. It's Chrome taking away, I don't know, taking away CPU? Oh, look at that. 13 FPS. Good lord. I'm watching the stats right now. I'm sorry, we might have to do this as a YouTube video. I was really excited to talk to you guys about this thing I wanted to cover today. But for whatever reason, my computer refuses. I mean, refuses to cooperate. I don't know if it needs an update or what. I'm watching Task Manager. The only tasks that are really running are OBS and Chrome. And they're using a good amount of resources, but not, not enough to crash the freaking computer. Yeah. I don't know, because this is real bad. 7% drop frame rate because of rendering lag. My goodness. All right. Well, chat, it looks like we are struggling to keep it going. I think it's only a matter of time before we crashing this plane with no survivors. But I'll still do my intro, cause you guys are here for it. Live from the 24-hour newsroom, 100,000 feet beneath the sands of the Mojave, this is the JD CAROTHERS Show, where health is chronically low, there is never enough AP, and the death claws are always restless. I'm your host, JD CAROTHERS, and this is my sidekick, Bismo Funyuns. Today we've got a great show for you. We actually have quite a bit to talk about. We are going to be covering, if we can, with much trepidation, a YouTube, overcoding, encoding overloaded. Did we disconnect? We're still here? We're still here for now. We're still here for now. A YouTube video, from Asmongold. Oh boy, Asmongold YouTube video. He took a break from boiling Indians in Sam Hyde's basement in order to do that which is necessary. Tell us why video game companies are going under. And specifically, we've got a we've got a YouTube video that I'm actually really excited about. Because he was talking about this, and I firmly believe he's wrong, which is fun. Anytime you get Asmongold being wrong, that's party time. You know what I mean? And so this is one of those scenarios. So let me see. Stream. Oof. I feel like I'm getting punched in the gut every time everything lags. Like, you know? Okay. I don't know, man. I don't even kind of know. Okay, let's hop in here. And this is Asmongold. Ooh, we got a chat, don't we? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Let me hop in here. Oh, hello, do not call me Luella. How are you doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. We got some connection problems, so that's why viewership's so low. But we are about to watch an Asmongold video. And I'm going to react because I disagree with him, which is, not that common, to be honest. I don't want to say I'm a fan of Asmongold, but most of what he says, I'm like, hey, fair enough. But this one, I do think he's wrong. So we're not going to watch the whole video. We're just going to watch some of it. But, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I've been wanting to, share my thoughts on this since yesterday because he has his opinion on why video gaming is going under, why Ubisoft is going under. They just laid off 100 employees, why, Bungie has tanked their entire business. And I don't think he's incredibly far off, but I do think that he's a little bit wrong. So for context, Marathon is dying, and so is Destiny 2. And, Asmongold's whole take on this is Marathon, Destiny 2's been killed so Marathon can die. And, he's really happy that Bungie is suffering the consequences of, woke tardation. But I do want to talk over here about I think it's right around here, where he starts saying that his opinion is the reason for these problems is, of course, no dip. They hired women. And, to be honest, I don't entirely disagree with him again. However, the problem I run into is I think there's a better answer for this than that, for why these problems showed up. And I think if we're, you know, there's a line between like misogyny and just being like a realist and being like, I don't even want to say sexist, but like just kind of looking at the differences between the genders and saying like, well, you're gonna have problems when you introduce, women into an environment. And don't I don't think doing one necessarily means the other. So like saying, oh, there's problems when you introduce women into the workplace, I don't think that makes you a misogynist. Um, However, if you don't do your diligence and you don't cover, all the possible reasons that it could be before you jump to, yeah, it's because of the women. It's hard to beat the misogyny allegations and the sexism allegations. But so okay, I'm gonna let him talk, and then I'm gonna talk about my take on it. Sorry, chat. I had the volume off.
Let you guys know that we are killing them. We're killing them. This is beautiful. I'm so proud of you guys. Like, this is a level of winning that I didn't even know was possible. It's deserved. I think it's deserved too, if you want me to be honest. I do. I think it's very deserved. So it's beautiful. Yes, we are actually knocking these fuckers over one after another. We didn't need to kill them. And to be fair, also, they're killing themselves. Like, if they were making good video games, we couldn't do anything about it. Fundamentally, all of the identity stuff and everything else, all of this is secondary to good video games. They're not making good video games. And that's the real reason why they're failing more than anything else. So, which AAA is still making good video games? Capcom, From Software, Nintendo? Like, outside of Pokemon, I guess Game Freak makes Pokemon, so that's it. At least they own the chuds, though. Yeah, I mean, let me see if I can find this. Did they own the chuds? Hassan, so Sellout would be more accurate. Objectively, he is promoting a terrible game just for the money. And Assassin's Creed responds to Elon Musk. Is that what the guy playing your PoE 2 account told you? Well, in a tale as old as time, it appears that once more, Twitter likes don't pay the bills. That's just too bad. Do you remember all of the dick eaters and the retards and the dumbasses and the delusional, did I say retards? The retards that said that, like Assassin's Creed was doing well, etc. I did? Okay, well, they're really big retards. The Delulus, yeah, I like that. Well, let's look at how Ubisoft is doing now. Oh my god. Well, it went all the way down and all the way back up again. There it is. Oh my god, it rose back up when we see EU. And so this is the European stock, right? You can see that. And the European stock actually has gone... Wait a minute. Oh, it's gone... So it went down massively, and now it's gone back up. So it seems like this caused a temporary panic, and people aren't really... Black Flag made it go up. Yeah, I think that's probably what happened, is that they announced some new stuff for that game in order to get that up. But man, it had so many players. What happened? Yeah, I know, guys. It's such a mystery. And so, anyway, gamers voted, and Ubisoft died. $1.3 billion in losses. Historic low, will not return to profitability until at least 2027 or 2028. Ubisoft will continue focusing on live service games. They told us Ubi was winning, that the chuds had no effect, that Assassin's Creed Shadows was doing well. Ladies and gentlemen, take your victory lap. No studio was more DEI infested than Ubisoft. You voted with your wallets and took down one of the biggest AAA companies in the world. This is a total chud blowout. It is. Like, this is a massive... You said a Vietnam flashback? What's this? Asmongold getting angry at this? So, retard. Man. Assassin's Creed Shadows just officially surpassed 2 million players in 2 days. So much for the go woke, go broke. An Assassin's Creed game scoring an 80 plus and set in Japan was always going to be a massive success, no matter the outrage campaign, and was not going to put a dent in it at all. Man. That's just too bad. The chuds win again. It's sad. And go woke, go broke? I guess so. Well, there's a lot of examples of that. White House is going live about alien disclosure stuff. I find that to be unlikely. I do. I find it to be very unlikely. This is probably not about aliens.
All right, chat. So I had myself muted. Fantastic. I can't seem to find the exact moment that he said that. I should have bookmarked it or something. But he is talking about how, we fell from grace. This is Destiny's original launch. He's like, how did it get so bad? What happened? And his take is, well, we let women in the, in the video game studio. We let women take over, and they ruined it. And I think there's an aspect of it. Like there is a consideration to be made that in general, there are, I guess, considerations you have to have when there's a primarily male-dominated environment and you introduce women into that environment. They're going to have problems with the environment because it is masculine, toxic or not. It's a masculine environment. It's not welcoming to women. They have problems with it. They want to fix that. But a lot of times, the masculine environment or the masculinity of the environment is what makes it a good environment in some scenarios. I mean, think of construction. You don't get a job in construction or keep a job in construction or get a raise or get promoted because you're like a cruddy employee, or because you're insert DEI reason. You get a promotion or you get higher pay if you do more work, if you work harder than everybody else in construction, right? And so meritocracies that are masculine or like male-dominated meritocracies, they have a really hard time adjusting to the introduction of women because it's sometimes a little bit harder to quantify the merit of a female employee because they're, and that's not necessarily women's fault. That being said, I think that there's another cause for the video game studios going under, for the video games crashing and burning, for these video games sucking so bad. And I want to show you guys an example of some real grade A garbage, okay? I want you to see this scene right here. Oh, good. Everybody hates her, but right, because she's hateable. Okay, so let me show you first. Let me tell you what I think. Toxic scumbag, dude. Well, and everybody's like, "Oh, Lily's toxic." No, 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 no. Lily's not toxic. Lily is annoying. So, let me start by saying, if you grew up in the mid 2000s, you remember. What is this trash? You remember this very incredible movie called Princess Diaries, in which a girl in high school finds out she's a princess, and she's very excited. And her very annoying, very liberal, very cringe friend, which those are three mutually exclusive, or not mutually exclusive, but those are three independent characteristics of this awful person. But I will talk a little bit about their connections. But this very annoying, very awful character, Lily Moskovitz, is her best friend, and she sucks. Okay? And I want you to think about this character, and I want you to tell me if you can remember, or if you can think of a character that reminds you of identically the same behavior and actions and conversations and thoughts and statements from a video game. And I want you to think about the person who wrote this character and the person who wrote that character.
No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Morning, Miss Gupta.
Morning, Lily.
Who are you?
Lily's friend?
Somebody sat on me again. Really? Yeah.
Target locked.
Nope.
Well, congratulations, you got your wish. I'm not gonna be a princess.
Hey, wait a minute, what the hell?
No. How you broke my brother's heart, or how you stuck me with her.
Okay, this is annoying. This is an annoying video. Oh, good. I didn't even let you guys see it. It's real annoying, but I guess what do you expect when it's
My heart to entertain us with some sleight of hand.
Much later.
And indeed, it is the Queen of Hearts.
I don't want to do this no more.
okay. I can't watch like a heavily edited video. I don't want to watch that. I want to I wish I could have got okay. I'm just going to tell you what happens. There's a scene, right? And Lily Moskovitz is walking down the aisle at Mia's wedding. And she said, in Princess Diaries 2, and she says, I am a girl wearing pink. I like black, but I'm wearing pink. I want you to think about that line. I want you to think about that line while I let it roll around in your head. Someone at a wedding saying out loud, I am wearing pink. I like black, but I'm wearing pink. I'm Lily's best friend, and I don't like you. Think of these cringe, awful lines while I show you something completely different. Okay? Give me a moment to pull it up. I should have had it already queued up, but okay, we're gonna get it going. Don't worry. Boom. This is one of the greatest videos you've ever seen, guys. Okay. We're not going to watch the whole thing, don't worry. And again, I want you to think about, I'm a girl wearing pink. I like black, but I'm wearing pink. I'm Lily's best friend, and I don't like you. I want you to think about these lines. I want you to think about the person who wrote these lines. I want you to think about the actress saying these lines. I want you to think about the integrity, the artistic integrity that goes into someone saying this junk in a movie for human beings to watch. The person who wrote it. The person who said it. The people who went and watched this movie despite this garbage dialogue.
Saigon. Shit. I'm still only in Saigon. I'm here a week now. Waiting for a mission. Getting softer. Every minute I stay in this room, I get weaker. And every minute Charlie squats in the bush, he gets stronger.
Let's think about that line. Been here a week now, waiting for a mission. Getting softer. Every minute I sit here, I get softer. And every minute Charlie squats in the jungle, he gets stronger. In that line, it's not just the poetry and the way it's written that is just like shows you a mastery of the English language, right? There's no fat. Been here a week now. Like, we've shaved necessary words off there and told the audience, you're smart enough, audience, to interpret this given the context that he's talking about himself. I've been here a week now. Getting softer. Every minute I sit here, I get softer. Every minute Charlie squats in the jungle, he gets stronger. You have to have some historical knowledge of Vietnam to understand what's going on here. But if you have any historical knowledge of the Vietnam War, you know that he's in Saigon, South Vietnam. He's waiting on a mission from the United States Military Command. He's obviously an American. And he's talking about Viet Cong, right? Who are waiting, lying in wait under every bush in South Vietnam to attack him. This is the mindset of a soldier. And so you understand that he is a soldier. He's a soldier. He's not a commander. He's not a king. He's not a ruler. He's a soldier. And in this sentence, the film, the writers, Francis Ford Coppola, have given us all the data we need to start this film, right? Everything we need to know about Captain Willard. Who he is, what he does, what he thinks, right? And he's going to give us a little more, you know? When I was in the jungle, I couldn't wait to get out. As soon as I got out, I couldn't wait to get back in. Didn't speak to the wife until I finally said yes to a divorce, right? Okay, these are, again, straight and to the point. Quick lines, straightforward. No fat on those lines. No ridiculous, spoon feeding the audience anything. And I know you could say, okay, well, come on, JD, the gosh dang Apocalypse Now is a movie for adults. It's a war movie for adults. And Princess Diaries is a children's movie for children. That is true. But now I want you to take a step back. And I want you to think about who writes video games. Who's writing video games right now? The people writing video games right now are people who went to college and majored in writing. And they got writing degrees and communications degrees. And they went on to be a writer. They tried to write for SNL, but even SNL has some standards. They tried to write for a movie or for a TV show, but the TV show said, sorry, we've got all the writers we need. So they went to a video game studio. And you have to understand, video game studios are going to pay the least because they have the least money to pay for writers. They're spending money on graphics. They're spending money on scores. They're spending money on Mick Gordon. So who do they hire for writers? The cheapest people available. The people who've been rejected by SNL. The people who've been rejected by NBC sitcoms, by The Good Doctor and The Rookie. Okay, people who aren't good. I want you to think about that. People who aren't good enough writers to write for The Rookie are writing your video games for Ubisoft. They're writing your video games for they're writing video games for Blizzard. They're writing dialogue for the next Assassin's Creed game. Dialogue for the next freaking, not Call of Duty, because there's no dialogue in Call of Duty, thank God. They're writing dialogue for the next Path of Exile. They're writing dialogue for the next Vinland Saga reboot movie, or whatever. Okay? And so this is what you need to understand. They are the bottom of the barrel when it comes to writers. And now I want you to take a step back. Whether you're a liberal or Democrat, whether you're a liberal or conservative, Democrat, Republican, I think everyone can generally agree that the soft sciences, but writing especially, has always been very much it's always had a liberal bent to it as a study. As a field of study. You go back to Hemingway, you go back to Hunter S. Thompson, most writers historically have had sort of a liberal mindset. I want to push the envelope. I want to move forward. I want to progress as a society. I have these, progressive views about, whether it's, sexuality or liberal views about, or progressive views about race. It's always kind of been a very progressive bent in that study, that field of study. Now, I want you to think about the more recent progressivism, more recent liberalism. What does it look like? How does it feel about the past? How does it feel about history? How about critical race theory? What does critical race theory say? What does Project 1619 say? The attitude of the progressive about history is that it is all oppression and corruption. If you look back at the 1960s, at the 1950s, at the 1920s, and you see oppression and corruption, and this isn't to say that there is no oppression and corruption in the 1960s, and the 1950s, and the 1920s, but if all you see is corruption, why would you indulge? How could you indulge in any of the artwork that came out of those eras? How could you indulge in Sunset Boulevard? How could you watch Sunset Boulevard and think to yourself, this is a good movie, and not think to yourself, they really treated women poorly? Or, I can't believe at this time in our history, homosexuals had to hide their sexuality, right? So if that's the lens, the progressive liberal lens you're looking at film through, you don't look at historical film for inspiration. And the thing is, we have to come from somewhere. We have to build off something. And if you refuse to build off the, anything before the 1980s in terms of, film and video and television that's available, if you refuse to even look at it as inspiration, to even look at it as something worth watching, something that captured the populace, right? If your view of the past is that it's primitive, it's corrupt, it's wrong, it's immoral, then your view of the present will be, I don't need the past. But you have to build on something. So if your line starts at 1980 and you are a child of the 90s, what, pray tell, are your inspirations? What do you remember from the 90s? What do you remember fondly from the 90s? How about TV shows? How about Disney Channel, right? Well, Nickelodeon was more 90s, but I think about the dialogue in an episode of All That. The overacting, the extensive, like ridiculous statement of fact, the sarcasm. These are the only things that these garbage, bottom of the barrel writers can come up with because it's their only frame of reference, because they are incapable of looking at the past as something that is worth studying. They are incapable of looking at the past and the history that comes before us, films that came before us, Francis Ford Coppola, Stanley Kubrick. They can't watch Apocalypse Now. They can't watch Full Metal Jacket and say, this is an incredible story with incredible writing and incredible directing for an audience that ate it up. Why did an audience watch a movie about an unpopular war where, Marines go through a pretty brutal boot camp and then go through an even more brutal war? Why did millions of Americans watch that when it came out? And millions of Americans have watched it since. Why? Because Stanley Kubrick did not find it acceptable to take a photograph of a drawing. And he refused to simply take a photograph. Right? Stanley Kubrick was obsessed with taking a photograph of a photograph. Every frame, every single frame was exactly what he wanted. Go watch The Shining. Go watch 2001: A Space Odyssey. Go watch Full Metal Jacket. Go watch Eyes Wide Shut. And pause it. Anywhere. And look at every character. Look at their eyes. Look at their faces. Look at the words coming out of their mouths. Look at the dialogue. Every single period in the dialogue is exactly what Stanley Kubrick wanted. He was trying to tell you something. And you can feel that as an audience member. You watch Full Metal Jacket, right? You have that scene in the helicopter where, Rafter Man and Joker are headed out for the Stars and Stripes. And they're talking to this door gunner. And he says, you should do a story about me. Why should we do a story about you? Because I went and got me 100 confirmed gook kills. Have you ever killed women or children? Sometimes. How can you do that? How can you kill women and children? Oh, it's easy. You just don't lead them so much. Ain't war hell? Every line, every expression, every volume increase was exactly what Kubrick wanted. And when he communicated that to the audience said, not even this is cinema, but this is real. He took a photograph of a photograph. Now I want you to think about the writers that wrote Dustborn. I want you to think about the writers that wrote Mixtape. I want you to think about the writers that wrote Assassin's Creed Shadows. I want you to think about the writers that are writing the garbage that comes out of video game studios right now. I want you to think about the writers that are writing the garbage that comes out of freaking NBC sitcoms. And I want you to think about where they're coming from. They have no historical frame of reference. You could take any writer, and I think someone should do this, like a street interviews type video, where they go to like Universal Studios or Paramount Pictures, and they ask writers, hey, you're a writer, who's your favorite director? Bet money it's some garbage director from the last 20 years. It is not one of the greats. Okay? It's not Elia Kazan. It's not Stanley Kubrick. It's not Quentin Tarantino even. And on that topic, let's pull up a Quentin Tarantino. Okay. I'm just going to pull up his most recent movie, right? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? Great movie. Great movie. Let's just pick literally any scene from this film. I like this scene.
This professional 30.
Oh my gosh. What is this? Why am I? Good Lord. So many ads. I really need to pay for... gosh dang, what's it called? You know what I mean? Really got to pay for it. So we're going to watch this scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then we are going to consider the comparison with another scene from another film.
Now, I admire Cassius Clay, I do. What I admire is, in his sport, there's an element of true combat. When Cassius Clay meets Sonny Liston in the ring, that's not two athletes posturing. That's combat. Two men trying to kill each other right now. If you don't beat him, he kills you. That's beyond athletics. That's beyond wide world of sports, you know. That's two warriors engaged in combat. That's what I admire. In martial arts tournaments, they won't let you fight like that. It's very frustrating. You stand in front of a guy and you just want to let him have it. But you can't. So you got to do this play-acting patty cake version. Cassius Clay, Sonny Liston, Joe Louis. The colored boxer, not that white kickboxing asshole. They do what they need to do to win. They unleash as much punishment as they have to defeat the other guy. But in martial arts tournaments, I do to win what they do to win. I unleash all my power. I kill people.
Well, if you fought Cassius Clay, who would win?
Well, that would never happen.
But if you did, what do you think would happen?
I'd make him a cripple. Hey, you. What's your name?
Me?
Yeah, you.
My name's Cliff. I'm Rick Dalton, stunt double.
Stuntman?
Yeah,
You know, you're kind of pretty for a stuntman.
that's what they tell me.
So, did I say something funny, stuntman?
Yeah, you kind of did.
What's so funny?
Look, man, I don't want any trouble. I'm just here to do a job.
But you're laughing at what I'm saying. But I'm not saying anything funny. So what do you think is so funny?
What I think is... you're a little man with a big mouth and a big chip. And I think you should be embarrassed to suggest you be anything more than a stain on the seat of Cassius Clay's trunks.
Brother, you're the one with the big mouth. And I would really enjoy closing it, especially in front of all my friends. But my hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means we get into a fight, I accidentally kill you. I go to jail.
Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter.
Check that out. Okay, so I'm actually really glad I picked this scene because Quentin Tarantino is doing something kind of interesting with this scene. And I've really never noticed it before talking about this, but, you know, thinking about what I'm talking about, he's actually juxtaposing Hollywood and reality, right? Which is kind of interesting. Cliff Booth represents the reality behind the film. He's the stuntman. He's the guy who gets hurt. He's the guy who jumps the actual cars. He's the guy who represents Rick Dalton in these films, and he's the one who deals with the actual consequences, right? Rick Dalton is the pretty face, the fun lines. He's a representation. You know, the two of them come together to make one man, but Rick Dalton isn't this, you know, crime-fighting hero. He's just the voice and the face. The real person behind it is Cliff doing all the stunts, right? Now, you look at Bruce Lee, you know, regarded as one of the greatest martial artists of all time, but a theatrical mind. He was in a lot of films, and, you know, he was definitely dramatic. He was a drama guy, right? And that's what you have to realize is most filmmakers, most actors are drama people. And so you have Bruce Lee talking about, if I fought Cassius Clay, I would cripple him. And Cliff is like, that's ridiculous, right? So Cliff is calling out the falsity in the entertainment production here. And so it's kind of interesting that this is actually a juxtaposition of what I'm talking about a little bit, where there's this overacting, dramatic, ridiculous dialogue coming out of Bruce Lee's mouth, or the character playing Bruce Lee, obviously. Like, Bruce Lee is saying these ridiculous things, and Rick is like, now come on, that's ridiculous, right? He represents the unbelieving or unconvinced audience member, the audience member that has not engaged in the suspension of disbelief. And as a director, as a dialogue writer, as a writer of a screenplay or a video game or anything, your job is to facilitate a rejection of disbelief or, a rejection of disbelief. And when you can't do that, it's not because the audience is unwilling. It's because your writing is bad. And so this dialogue here, this is Quentin Tarantino dialogue. Like, we don't need anything more than that. You can watch this dialogue and you're like, yep, that's how real people talk. But more than that, he's showing you, and I think Quentin Tarantino is trying, like, I want to put a box around Cliff. This is Quentin Tarantino in his mind. This is who he is. He's Brad Pitt. He's Cliff Booth. He's the real one in Hollywood. He's honest. He writes real dialogue. His movies are realistic. He makes real stuff. The rest of Hollywood is Bruce Lee, right? This is the rest of Hollywood. I admire Cassius Clay. I really do. When two men go in the ring, that's combat. Two men trying to kill each other, that's combat. It's like this flowery, exaggerated, dramatic language, right? My hands are lethal weapons. If we get in a fight and I accidentally kill you, I'll go to jail, right? These are ridiculous, dramatic overemphases on, things that you might say for entertainment value, but you wouldn't say in real life the way, he's saying it. And so it's really interesting that I picked this scene, because this scene is exactly what I'm talking about here. This scene is the disparity between modern film, video game, television writing and what it used to be, which is, again, Cliff Booth, or in this case, kind of a Quentin Tarantino character who's, Quentin writes dialogue that actually feels natural, that actually sounds like a conversation people would have. And now I want to show you one more video, and this last video is just going to be, and again, okay. Oh, it's a, yes. You know what? I'll do a different one. I was going to show you guys that annoying character from Moana 2, but there's a fair argument to be made that I'm showing you guys children's movies versus rated R adult movies. Of course, the dialogue's better in the rated R adult movies, right? But how about Fury Road? He Noticed Me, right? Here you go. My goodness. Give me 1 second to get this ad over with, because I gotta watch these silly ads. Oh man, I wish we could. And I like this actor, just so you know. And I've never seen Mad Max Fury Road. I just know this line from all the memes, and so I know that this is a ridiculous line that no one would ever say.
He looked right at me! He looked at your blood bag! He turned his head, he looked me straight in the eye! He was scanning the horizon! No. I am awaited. I am awaited in Valhalla!
Yeah, so that, I mean, that was pretty freaking ridiculous. I don't even know what I was watching right there. I don't even kind of understand that. But
I admire Cash.
yeah, the idea that you would have this character that talks like that. More than even just like the premise, because I think most audience members are willing to suspend disbelief in order to, grasp at a premise that's maybe a little bit far-fetched. We are not willing to suspend disbelief in order to listen to dialogue that's unbelievable, right? Because that's what we do. That's what life is. Life is talking. Life is communication. And we communicate every day with everyone we know. And when we hear dialogue that sounds like trash, we don't want to listen to it anymore. For your consideration, Ubisoft. 343 Industries if you're still making video games. Everyone that is not From Software and Nintendo. I'm not even going to include Activision. If you are making video games, I know Asmongold wants you to fire all the DEI hires. And that might be the only way to do what I'm about to say. But I'm going to tell you this. If you're a studio making video games and you are not From Software or Nintendo, you must fix the dialogue. No one cares if the game sucks, if the dialogue is good. No one cares if the gameplay is clunky, if the dialogue is good. No one cares if the premise is so far-fetched it could never happen in a million years, if the dialogue is good. Look at Dustborn. Dustborn's got to be one of the worst written video games of all time in terms of dialogue. The game itself was not good, but the dialogue made it a 0. Look at Mixtape. A game that is not playable, but the dialogue makes it a 0. If you put good dialogue in that freaking game movie, people would love it. All the people who are like, oh, it's a game movie, would not be talking about it. And you could argue, oh, no bad publicity, but how many players do they have? How many players do they have? I think it's like concurrent 2,000. It's not a lot. Not a lot at all. Look at Pragmata. Look at how they're doing. Do you think Pragmata's doing well because everybody wants to fight on a space station against a rogue AI? Nobody cares about that. That's a tired, contrived, overused trope. But the dialogue's good. It makes sense. It's natural. If the dialogue feels like trash, if it doesn't feel natural, I will not play the video game. Look at Assassin's Creed Black Flag, one of the greatest video games of all time. Look at Skyrim, another GOAT. Look at Fallout New Vegas. What does the dialogue look like in those games? What does the dialogue sound like in those games? Is it natural? Does it feel natural? Does it feel right? When you have a conversation with Sunny Smiles, does she say things like, guys, I think we might have company? Or does she say things like, you're going to want to handle those geckos now before they hurt me? Skyrim. Does Delphine say things like, Who let the dragons in? Or did she say things like, we don't understand why the dragons are back in Skyrim, but I think it's important that we get to the bottom of it. I don't know who is writing these video games. These bad video games. But they need to be fired or they need to get better. This is my call to action. This is my call to arms to everyone who writes video games. It's time to stop. Okay? If you are writing video games and you read a sentence in your dialogue and it sounds like it could be on Moana 2, it sounds like it could be coming out of Lily Moskowitz's mouth from Princess Bride 2 or Princess Diaries. It sounds like it could be a line in an anime. Or it sounds like it could be a line in All That, the 1990s children's television show from Nickelodeon. Stop it. Quit your job. Go be homeless. You would be a better contributor to society if you were homeless. Because all you're doing right now is taking from society and ruining it, making it worse. You're making it so that 20 years down the line, the liberal, progressive minds that decide to go into writing and communication will refuse to look at anything before 2020 when we were finally enlightened as a culture. The same way you are refusing to look past 1990, which you look on with nostalgia, even though you think that it was still problematic. But it's nostalgic because you were a kid. And these people in 2040 are going to look back at your garbage writing. And they're going to think that that's how people talked. Please stop. If you're unwilling to quit your job because you don't want to starve to death, I understand. But hone your craft for the love of God. There's no law against getting better at what you do. Everyone else in the world gets better at what they do, except for writers for some reason. Writers don't get better. Writers get worse somehow. If you're a writer on the show, The Rookie, if you're a writer on the show, The Good Doctor, if you are a writer on any video game that came from Ubisoft in the last 5 years, do everyone a favor. Watch a Quentin Tarantino movie, watch an Elia Kazan movie, and watch a Francis Ford Coppola movie or a Stanley Kubrick movie. You can pick one. They're both very long, so I understand if you only want to watch one. One day, marathon of movies. Quentin Tarantino, Francis Ford Coppola, and gosh dang Elia Kazan. 10 hours. You know what? Frick it. You can watch Stanley Kubrick too, okay? No, you gotta watch all four. Watch a Stanley Kubrick, watch an Elia Kazan, watch a gosh dang Quentin Tarantino film, and watch a movie that was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. And you will come out the other side. I want you to take notes on the dialogue. The things that Clean says to Captain Willard in Apocalypse Now. The things that Animal Mother says to Joker in Full Metal Jacket. The things that Cliff Booth says to Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And for the love of God, the things that, I can't remember his name, but the sheriff, the marshal in High Noon, says to his bride or any of the townspeople in the film High Noon, directed by Elia Kazan. But you could also watch, actually, did Elia Kazan do, hold on, I'm sorry. I don't know if Elia Kazan did High Noon. No, that was Fred Zinnemann. Elia Kazan directed, On the Waterfront. So, you're going to get 2 Marlon Brando movies out of this. Hey-oh. 2 Marlon Brando movies. You're welcome. Because you're going to get to watch On the Waterfront. There was one other one that was really... A Face in a Crowd. We've already watched this as a stream, haven't we? This film is incredible. Watch A Face in a Crowd. A Face in the Crowd. Andy Griffith. Watch A Face in the Crowd and watch... Just pay attention to the dialogue between Andy Griffith and the female, the main lady. I can't remember her name or the actress's name, but she was kind of big. I think she was in Sunset Boulevard. I Face in the Crowd. What a great film. He directed East of Eden? That's cool. All right, we got Andy Griffith. What a great film. It was Patricia Neal, I believe, is Marcia Jeffries. And I think, was Marcia Jeffries in The Day the Earth Stood Still? Oh, she's in The Fountainhead. That's what I know her from. And she's in Breakfast at Tiffany's? Incredible. The Fountainhead. Gary Cooper. Gotta love Gary Cooper, man. What a great, great actor. Who directed this? Directed by King Vidor. Interesting. All right, but anyway. So yeah, watch A Face in the Crowd or On the Waterfront and just pay attention to the dialogue. If you are a writer for any of these garbage video game companies. I'm going to make you a promise right now. If you are a writer for Ubisoft, if you're willing to take your life into your own hands, if you're a video game writer for Ubisoft and you see this video and you watch all the way to the end, okay. I want you to do something for me, for the world, for everyone. You watch those 4 movies and make sure one of your coworkers doesn't. Ask them if they've ever heard of the directors. Make sure you have a coworker that has never heard or doesn't like Quentin Tarantino, Stanley Kubrick, Francis Ford Coppola, or Elia Kazan. And then go watch those movies. See how it affects your writing. And I bet I'd be willing to put $1 million if I had it, but I'll bet $5 right now. And you can come knock down my door and come on my stream and tell me I owe you $5 because you still got fired. But I'd be willing to bet $5. If you're a writer for Ubisoft and you watch those 4 movies, you will not be laid off next time they lay off 100 more writers. You won't. Because your writing is going to be so good, it's going to carry video games. You could carry Mixtape if it was written well. If Quentin Tarantino or Francis Ford Coppola wrote, which I know they're not screenwrites, but like the gosh dang Coen brothers could have written, because they are screenwriters, they could have written a dialogue set that is better in Mixtape, and it would have been a smash hit. It would have been a blockbuster. It would have sold 10 million copies. But because you guys keep refusing to look to the past, because you're progressive and you're liberal, and look, I disagree with you. I disagree with liberals in general, but that doesn't mean you're not permitted to be one. But you have to have some consideration of history. You have to look at the past and ask yourself, why did 1 billion people love Citizen Kane? Why is Citizen Kane largely considered one of the greatest movies of all time? Right? Why is Shawshank Redemption the highest rated film on IMDb? And why does my writing not resemble any of these? Why does my writing not resemble any of these? That's all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. If you catch this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. And of course, this show's brought to you by Vitajex. Vitajex puts it in your eye. Vitajex makes you feel young and spry. Vitajex will give you the strength of 10 men, make you feel like a young man again. And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't take your Vitajex today and what I was saying didn't make a lot of sense, take your Vitajex and rewatch the video. Come on. Watch the VOD. It's,